Okay, so this is for you, random person on the internet. This is touch controls. Um, so now it's a phone, and you can touch and drag in 8 directions. But also, if you drag too far away, it follows. And so if you want to move the opposite way, you always need to move your finger the same distance. Yes. So this is how it works. So you have a sprite on the screen. Oh, shit. And you need to touch it, and it spawns two things. The invisible yellow square and the visible joystick. And so here, whenever you touch the area, and you're not touching family one. Family one is other buttons. And this is a variable, and whenever it becomes true, the variable changes so that you can't spawn another joystick. And so you create the object that follows your touch, and you set an instance variable called touch ID to touch not touch ID and touch and get the ID for the touch. And you also set the variable here to the touch object's touch index. And you make this group activated, and you also spawn this circle, this circle. And so this changed the touch ID to not -1, so this is going to be true. And you set the position of the rectangle to the position of the touch object. Like earlier, we set the touch, we saved the ID of the touch inside the object. And now we can do this here, which requires an ID, so it's self.touch ID. And that gives the position of the touch for this one specific touch, so you can have multi-touch. And if the distance between the yellow square and the circle thing is too big, it brings the circle thing close to it. Then also have this thing here where it creates another joystick thing on top of the player, because when you're touching the screen you don't necessarily look at your thumb, you look at your character, so it helps you know what's the position of your finger. Then we can skip this for now, we'll come back to it. And then when this touch end, this uses the 0 index and not the unique ID, so that's why here it's set as index and not unique ID. And so when the touch end it picks the joystick and it destroys them and it resets the variables and deactivates the group. So this code here, it's what is it? Oh, yes. It's a variable that is either -1, 0, or 1. And that means moving negatively on the x-axis, not moving on the x-axis, or moving positively on the x-axis. This I have a max distance variable. And so if I take the distance divided by the max distance, that's what creates from 0 to 1, because if it's the distance is 100 and the max distance is 100, then 100 divided by 100 is 1, but it's 50 in the middle, then 50 divided by 100 is 0.5. And so I also have a dead zone variable. And that means you have to be at least that much away from the middle to move. And you can let the user decide their max distance and their dead zone, because if you have a bigger screen or a smaller screen, then your finger will need to move less or more. And if you need to move too much, then it's not comfortable. But also if you need to move too little, then it's also not comfortable. And so I take the variable from before. You probably don't need to do all of this, because in the game, x and y is this. Well, x is this, and y is this. And so when I move on this direction, it rotates the touch input so that it's converted into world input. And so it's like rotating the input with sin and cos. You shouldn't worry too much about that. I have this bottom part here that uses the non-rotated input, and that drives the character animations, like left and right, up and down. But I convert them I take the input from earlier and I convert the scale, the -1 to 1 scale, into either -1, 0, or 1, and I put it inside a Boolean, but so it uses set bit and get bit to set Booleans, and so the first Boolean is 0, and then if the inputs is smaller than 0, it sets it input 0 to 0, and if it's not, then it sets to 1, because the first Boolean is direction. And then the second Boolean here is if the character is moving or not. And so the direction can change. And then it changes the direction and it sets it to moving. But if you don't move your character, then it does this. That does not set the direction. It only sets moving to no. So after I'm done moving, the character stays in that direction. And oh yeah, see, it says here what the Booleans are. So 0 is left or right, 1 is moving or neutral, 2 is up or down, and 3 is moving or neutral. And then you have mirrored, not mirrored, flipped or not flipped. Mirrored is left or right, and flipped is up or down. And then I use those inputs to apply physics to the character. But my physics probably won't be the same as yours. So over here we have x. Well, first of all, it sets the x velocity and then the y velocity. And then this is to slow it down. And afterwards, it checks if the velocity is colliding with a wall or not. And if Cx equals 0 means if it's not colliding, then position x is going to be position x plus velocity. And that's how the character moves around. Otherwise, if colliding equals -1, then that means it's colliding on the left, on the negative side. And so the position of the character is set to the boundaries of the thing it collided with. So that's it, I guess. I don't know if it helped, but let me know if you have more questions. Bye bye.